We're going to talk about employee engagement and how to work with or rank or categorize your employees. So what's relevant here is I learned this grid from Stephen Lynch and Matt Fitzsimmons, a couple of my business coaches a few years ago. And what you've got here is a grid where you see the top on the left side, it exceeds expectations or does not meet expectations. This is relative to job accountabilities and KPIs, metrics, performance standards that you're looking at. And then the top line is lives the core values or does not live the core values. And what I've done is just plotted a couple people here on the grid. So number one, over here in this category, you've got what we call the A players. And these are A players, and what you do with them is you take care of them. Figure out what they're doing, what works for them, and make everything in the company revolve around what's going to help them to be successful. This is also relevant to recruiting and hiring because you want to figure out what these folks, what appeals to them, what they value in the company, how they're succeeding, and you can use them to inform your training, your orientation, your recruitment message, and all those things. Here you've got B players. What you can see is that this person lives the core values, but they do not meet their expectations. So their job accountabilities are KPIs that they're not meeting, but they're exemplary on the core value side. Now you notice that nobody meets expectations. We don't put anybody on this line here. If you have a productivity standard, you're almost always above or below it. Maybe it averages out over several months, a little bit above. So realize that this is also an analog scale. You can move people up and down. You're trying ultimately to get this person farther over here if you can. You are taking this person who we would classify as a B player, and what you do with them is you coach them and try to help them achieve expectations, exceed them, and help them be successful. So this person down here who does not live by the core values and does not meet expectations, pretty simple. What you do with them, you free up their future. Free up their future. They don't belong on the team. They're not meeting their performance standards. They're also not living the core values, and they're problematic. Now this is the person that's most controversial. So here, sorry, we could call this a C player. These tend to be classified as B players as well, but they're different. And this is the one that's most controversial. We look at this person who might be achieving their metrics. Maybe they're a salesperson that's meeting their sales goals, but they're not living by the core values. They're just respectful. They countermand the things that you're trying to achieve with the vision, purpose of the company. And the real question here is, can you coach, can you teach? So this B player down on this side, they are presumably coachable. Their behaviors, their values align with that of the company and the leadership, but they lack some of the skills or ability to perform. They're not performing to standard. So you coach, you teach, you do whatever you can to provide them the resources so that they can move up into that A category. This person, the question is, can you teach them? Can you coach them in their belief system? Can you get them to align? Is it possible to move them over here? And there's some that argue that it is. It's, at the very least, much, much more difficult to do so. And what you'll find, or at least what I've found, is when we also apply the same standard, maybe there's some counseling, maybe you share with them and tell them, but if they don't correct it quickly, you free up their future too. They're outside the company. So what you'll find, or what I found in these scenarios, is almost a visible, audible sigh of relief from the rest of the team. If you're still debating whether this is a good idea or not, think about what this person, your rock star, thinks about this person over here. How does that affect the integrity of the leadership team, the owners, the people who are trying to model behaviors and telling people that the core values and the vision, mission are important if they keep this person around? So that's our quick talk for today. You can write this down, classify, categorize all the members of your team. Don't share it publicly, obviously, but think about it more as an exercise and decide what you can do and what resources you can bring to bear to help those B players exceed expectations, and maybe have a couple people leave the team who are not helping your cause. Thanks so much. I'm Sturdy McKee, sturdymckee.com.